Yes. What's happening, everybody? It is Friday afternoon. We had the weigh-ins earlier today for UFC 295. The title fights are official. Everybody on the main card made weight. We had John Castaneda look a little bit close to missing there, but he needed the box of shame, but he got in there. He made weight at 138, which is where the catch weight got moved from 135 to 138 for that fight. And we also had Jamal Emmers missing by a pound, and Roosevelt Roberts missed by a couple pounds, but that's not surprising. He took the fight, on less than a week's notice. So all the fights are official. We're ready to go. 13 fights for UFC 295. And this is the heaviest card I believe I've had all year. If I look on my Bet MMA tips right now, I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 10 and a half, 11 and a half, 11.75. I've got almost 12 units on the line just for this card, and I might still add a couple bets here, but there's a lot of stuff I like this week. And I know that one of the legs was going to be Jamal Emmers by decision this week for this parlay, but when he missed weight, I figured it's best to stay away. I don't think I ever recall Emmers missing weight or having trouble making weight. So I think that could be a potential red flag. And those of you who are already on the Bazookia side, you might be onto something there just because Emmers might not be 100%. It's not like him to miss weight, so I did not like the 1 pound weight miss there. But other than that, let's get to this parlay here. I've got 4 legs ready to go for you guys. I will share my screen with you, get up the DraftKings window, and you can do this parlay on any website that you want, and always check around on all your books to see where you can get the best lines. But this week, on because it's UFC 295, there is a parlay boost on DraftKings. So if you do have DraftKings as your sports book, use that parlay boost this week for this Greasy 4-leg parlay, because it's already checking in at plus 655. But with the boost, you'll probably get something like plus 800 this week. And I do like these 4 legs. I think they hit. So let's look into it, you guys. Very first leg is going to be Van versus Borjas over 1.5 rounds. Van is a guy that gets mostly late finishes. He is a volume puncher. He is a guy who wears you down with pace, pressure, and volume. And Borjas is a guy who kind of gets into that pocket and swings bombs. I think Van's going to be more technical. I think both of these guys have got really good chins. And they're flyweights. Flyweight fights only finish inside the distance about 43% of the time. So we're hoping that this one goes over 1.5 rounds. If I have my prop template up, do I? There it is. Let me get it over to this screen for you guys. All right. And if we go all the way over to the Van fight, you could see here that the over 2.5, and we're looking at, what is it? Minus 205 on DraftKings, minus 220. Now, there's only one fight of sample size, so don't be alarmed that it's a trifecta bet. But we do see that 71% of flyweight fights go over 1.5 rounds. We're only paying 68.75% on the line. And even 3 of 7 of Van's fights on the regional scene have went over 1.5, and 2 of 9 for Borjas. And Borjas was fighting, really low-level guys in Inca FC. So definitely like this one to go over 1.5 rounds at minus 220. The first leg was going to be Emmers by decision, but because of the weight miss, I figured I had to bring another leg in. And this was something that I was looking at all week. I felt it was more of a parlay piece than a straight bet. So here we are. Leg 1, over 1.5 rounds, Joshua Van versus the Black Cock Borjas. All right. Second fight, and the second leg is going to be Uncle Weezy's ass shaving of the week and the Bootsy Collins Memorial Dogs Are Barking pick of the week. Vyacheslav Borshev's money line at plus 114. Much better striker here. He is an elite striker for this lightweight division. And Nazim Sadikov is a very good striker, a good grappler as well. What I don't know about him is whether he's a top-level wrestler or not. And if he's not a top-level wrestler, he's not going to be able to go to it for 15 minutes. If he's not able to go to the wrestling for 15 minutes and dominate at least 10 of the 15 minutes of this fight in grappling positions, I do see Borshev picking him apart and eventually landing a big shot. Another thing about Sadikov is that he pressures forward relentlessly. And when you do that, you're going to have to rely on your chin. And Borshev, is a kickboxer who is going to need room to get his attacks off. But if you are predictably a pressure fighter against somebody like Borshev, you're going to walk onto something eventually. And I think he's going to walk onto something. And I think Borshev is going to sleep this dude in the second round. Look at Just the Tip with Uncle Weezy this week for the reasoning. But Borshev is a pick I'm very confident on. I think the line is right at plus 114 here. I bet him last night at plus 110, and he's went to plus 131 already on Bet Online. So I definitely missed the best of the line. I probably bought the low, I probably bought the high, I should say, in terms of price. But I still think that he gets the job done here. I think Sadikov is a really good fighter, but I just, if he can't wrestle for 10 minutes, he's not going to win the minutes of this fight because Borshev is just the far better striker. And no matter how much Sadikov pressures, Borshev has the ability to angle off and make him pay for being a little too aggressive here. So Vyacheslav Borshev, money line plus 114, second leg of the parlay. Leg 3 is going to be Aspinall Pavlovich under 1.5 rounds at minus 210. I see violence happening in this fight. We've never seen Sergey Pavlovich go out of the first round in the UFC. We've only seen Tom Aspinall get out of the first round in the UFC once. Both of these guys are massive power punchers. Sergey Pavlovich doesn't appear to have a whole lot of gas in the tank. He kind of needs to get the job done in round 1. And if he doesn't, and if Aspinall successfully wrestles him, you can easily see Aspinall getting a submission, a ground and pound finish, or Pavlovich just kind of quitting on the stool after round 1, because it's just basically impossible for a heart to feed that much muscle and fight at a high pace for a long period of time when you're built like Sergey Pavlovich. The guy's got an absurd amount of muscle on his frame. So I see him gassing out. I see him getting an early finish. I see Aspinall getting an early finish. Either way, I see somebody getting served in less than 7.5 minutes of this fight, minus 210 for the under 1.5 rounds for Aspinall Pavlovich. And then the last leg is going to be the under 2.5 rounds for Yuri Prochaska versus Alex Pereira. That will be the last leg of the parlay, minus 155. I bet this for 3.5 units earlier in the week at minus 175. Big bet. Yuri Prochaska doesn't go past 12.5 minutes, except in the Glover Teixeira fight. And that fight could have easily finished 4 or 5 different times in the first 2.5 rounds and another 3 or 4 times in the last 2.5 rounds. What a fluke that fight even went into the third round, to be honest. So I see this one as being a very unpriced violence line, or underpriced violence line here. Alex Pereira has a left hook that can knock out anybody, and Yuri Prochaska is about as hittable as it gets, and he keeps his hands down, and he has no concern for his own safety, and he trusts his chin, and that's not a good thing against Alex Pereira. But Alex Pereira doesn't have the best chin in the world either, and this guy Jiri, he's got, what has he got, 28 career knockouts? Let's look. Come on. Prochaska, 29 wins, 25 of them by way of KO, 3 of them by way of submission. This guy's only won 1 decision in his entire career. And Pereira's been the full 3 rounds before, but really only against very durable guys like Bruno Silva, or, really elite kickboxers like Israel Adesanya, who doesn't hit that hard. But let's face it, even when Alex fought Israel the first time, Israel had him out of there at the end of the first round. He got saved by the bell. And then in the next fight, Pereira got knocked out in the second round by a guy who doesn't really knock dudes out in Israel Adesanya. This is going to be a violent fight. I love the violence lines for this one, and I think they're underpriced. So if we go to DraftKings here, leg 1 is going to be the Joshua Van over 1.5 rounds here at minus 220. The next line is Vyacheslav Borshev at plus 114. Third leg is Sergey Pavlovich versus Tom Aspinall, under 1.5 rounds at minus 210. And then the fourth leg, yes, is going to be the alternative total rounds here. We scroll down to the main event. Under 2.5 rounds, minus 155. I think that's a very bettable line. You put all four of them together, and it comes out to plus 655 on DraftKings Sportsbook. Last week for the Greasy four-leg parlay, the leg that didn't hit was the biggest plus money leg, Renat Fakhretdinov by decision. I thought he won that fight. I thought Renat won the second round. I thought Renat 10-8'd him in the first, and I thought Zaleski dos Santos 10-8'd Renat in the third. But I had Renat winning that fight that close. We needed a win by decision. We got a draw. The other two legs hit. The fourth leg wound up being voided because of I believe, was it the Ankalaev fight? I don't know, whatever it was. Or no, it was the fight doesn't go to decision for Vieira versus Petrosian, which the fight was called off. So, man, and by the way, he got poisoned. Armen Petrosian is saying not only that he got poisoned, but that Roman Kopylov got poisoned backstage at an event as well. The same thing happened to Kopylov that happened to Petrosian. So those are some very interesting allegations to say that a dude got poisoned backstage before a fight in Brazil. A Russian did. Wow. So, yeah, we were two hit, one draw, one no contest, one no fight. So this close to cashing last week. I want to cash this week. Plus 655 is a pretty good number. Let's see what you guys in the chat are saying about this parlay here. We have got Corey Mann saying, let's get this money. Let's get it, Corey. I think we're due for one here. And I like these four legs, so let's see if it hits. We got Snerius saying, I have the day off work, and I'm finally able to catch this live. Oh, Uncle, what's up, dude? Good to see you in here, Snerius. Always love it when you're hanging out with us, brother. We got Cuddles Knickerbocker in the room saying, oi. And we've got Cage in the room saying, oi. We got D-Gen in the room saying, oi. We've got Barack in the room saying, oi. We got my guy Jack Attack MMA #1 on that Bet MMA Tips leaderboard saying, what's good, Weez? Best of luck this weekend, bro. Same to you, Jack Attack. But we don't have to wish this guy luck. This guy just stacks cash tickets like flapjacks constantly. Always good to have you hanging out in here, Jack. It's a pleasure. We got Borak saying, how you doing, Uncle? I'm good, man. It's Friday. I'm done with content for the week after this video. I'm getting ahead on next week's Allen versus Craig card, which is going to be a real good one. 14 fights already on that card. I'm done with 2 of the 14 fights, and I'm going to keep working for the rest of the day today, getting that content done, getting ahead on next week because we got a week off after next week's card. So I'm looking to finish up some behind-the-scenes stuff that we got going on here with my significant strike, takedown, and fantasy score templates for all these props that we have on Prize Picks and Underdog. So things are going well, my man. I hope all is well with you. We've got Real Fight Picks in the room saying, my most confident dog is Tabitha Ricci. I think it will be a striking match that Ricci wins. I just bet Ricci by decision last night at plus 220 on DraftKings, on FanDuel Sportsbook for a half unit. I think that Tabitha can make this fight very, very close. I think it could go either way. So I tend to agree that the value, at least, is on that Ricci side. And we've got Grateful Dude saying, I like the violence bet. Let's go. Yeah, dude, there's some good violent spots here. And, the co-main and the main, you want to talk about some violent dudes. Sergey Pavlovich, Tom Aspinall, Yuri Prochaska, and Alex Pereira. These guys are vicious finishers. And they've all got crazy power in their hands. So I am looking for people to get served in the main and the co-main. And I think that those are great violence bets. We've got Aspinall fight under 1.5 is missing. DK? It goes from 0 to... Oh, no. Cuddles Knickerbocker, what you're on there is the alternative total rounds. Now, if you go over to DraftKings, you'll see that when you're under fight lines, alternative total rounds is the second tab to the left. But if you just go to fight lines and then you scroll down, it'll be the one in the middle here. The over 1.5 minus 190, the under 1.5 plus 145 there for Prochaska Pereira. And here for Pavlovich Aspinall, you see that U 1.5. Oh, wait, I didn't even share my screen with you guys. I apologize. Come on, get out of here, Zeke. All right. So there we go. Under 1.5. I can't believe I didn't share the screen with you guys. So let me just put it all together for you again one more time because I never shared my screen. So alternative total rounds for Van and Borjas, over 1.5 minus 220. All right. And then we go to fight lines and we scroll down to Viach here, who is plus 114. And then we go right in the middle here, under 1.5 minus 210 for Pavlovich Aspinall. And then we scroll up to the top to alternative total rounds. We scroll down to the bottom. Prochaska versus Pereira under 2.5 is minus 155. Comes out to plus 655. Greenbat in the room saying, deep into the vibe of house music. Good luck on the greasiest parlay. Good luck to you, Greenbat. Let's hip this one, man. I'm sick of missing them by just a tiny bit. Yeah, Renat didn't wrestle at all in the second round. I don't know what the fuck that was about. Very interesting, but I still think that he won that second round with his striking. I thought he landed the bigger shots. But yeah, not a great performance, man. Robert Saladino saying, I'll tail this for my own three parlay. Lopez, Tom Aspinall, Jiri, gut feeling with all. Sometimes you got to go with it. Yeah, absolutely. I'm on Tom. I'm on Pereira, but like I'm not betting Aspinall and I'm not betting Pereira because I think that those fights, the main and the co-main, such high variance fights because the guys are such opportunistic finishers. Justin Nelson saying, hope it hits for you, Unc. I hope it hits for all of us, Justin. Let's get it. We got my guy Genova7 in the room saying Flapjack Saturday. Let's stack them high, Genova. I've got so many bets this week. This is everything that I've got this week. That's a big lineup for me there. 1 unit on Frivola's money line, plus 195. 1 unit on Viach's money line, plus 110. Over 1.5 rounds for Frivola Saint Denis at plus 145. I've got the over 2.5 for Emmers Bazookier. Parlayed with the under 1.5 rounds for Aspinall Pavlovich. I've got 1 unit on Madsen scorecards that equals no action at plus 170. I've got 1.2 units on Emmers by decision at minus 120. I've got fight doesn't go to decision for Kyung Ho Kong versus Castaneda at plus 180. I got the Pereira Prochaska under 2.5 rounds at minus 177 for 3.5 units. I've got Frivola winning by KO in round 1 plus 900 for a quarter unit. I've got Ricci by decision plus 220 for a half unit. And I've got Sabatini by decision plus 285 for a half unit. Big card. Tristan Shorehouse in the room saying, let's get it, Weezy. Let's go, Tristan. And ring a ding ding. The first donation of the week from my guy Robert Saladino saying 2 p.m. is the time of real men and born savages. Robert does not like that I go live at 10 o'clock Central Time, 11 o'clock East Coast time for Ask Weezy and for just the tip because decent, hardworking folks are in bed at that time. I am not a decent person, so I am definitely still up and doing my late night work, but guy like Robert Saladino, who's a God-fearing man who wakes up with the sun, prefers these daytime streams, which is why I do this one during the day. Thank you so much for supporting the show, Robert. It means a lot, brother. And we got Olajuwon Dream in the room saying, yo, and then he has an oi for us. What's up, Olajuwon Dream? We got Borak saying, I like your ass shaving. Nazim got manhandled by Elder. Imagine what Slava does to him. Yeah, dude. I mean, like, and Slava's takedown defense and grappling game is going to improve with time as well. So I can see him getting up if he gets taken down. It's not like Sadikov is this, feared control time, top control grappler. It's not really his game. He's a kickboxer. He's got a judo background. He's got a karate background, kickboxing, but not a wrestling background. And a wrestling background is a great thing to have against a fighter like Borshev, who is elite at distance striking range. How Borshev deals with Nazim's pressure, That's going to be interesting to see because Borshev will do his best work when he doesn't have to back up constantly, and he's going to have to back up constantly against Sadikov, but I think he knows that. Sadikov pressures forward relentlessly, so you know Borshev is preparing for that pressure. We got Bailey in the room saying, "Oi!" and saying cheers from North Carolina, Weezy. Good to have you hanging out in here, Bailey. We've got James in saying, thoughts on Andros and McKenzie over 2.5 for plus money. I don't hate it, James, because what's her name has not been finishing fights at this level for a minute now. And I'm talking about Mackenzie Dern. But the problem is that Andrade gets finished all the time when she loses. 8 of 10 of her UFC losses have come inside the distance, 4 by submission and 4 by knockout. So it's hard to bet overs in this fight, but you're saying over 2.5 for plus money. I'm showing plus 147 on my prop template right here. That's 40% price that you're paying on the line, but 71% of women's strawweight fights go over 2.5 rounds. So that's a 30% discount when you compare the price of the line to the benchmark for the division. And then when you look at Andrade in 3-round fights and Mackenzie Dern in 3-round fights, 8 of 19 for Andrade have went over 2.5, 4 of 8 for Dern. So that's 44.44%, still a higher number than the price of the line at 40.49%. So the data likes the over. The question is if Mackenzie Dern does get this to the ground, are we going to see Jessica Andrade really fighting to get out of these submissions, or are we going to see her say, maybe lift that chin up a little bit, let the choke get in there and tap and get an easy way out? That could potentially be the problem here, is that I don't know if Jessica's got that dog in her anymore. So we're going to have to find that out. We'll see. Olajuwon saying, let's get this moolah. Let's get it, dude. We got to make some money watching these fights this week. We got Shake AU in the room saying Lewis going to a decision was the strangest thing to happen this year. Yeah, it was, man. And I played there's a clip on my Twitter where I said, during the 4th round of the fight, I said, this looks like a work. It looks like Jailton is letting this go the full 5 rounds on purpose. And fight goes to decision for that fight was at plus 1,800. And Jailton Almeida to win by decision was something like plus 1,600. So, there was some big numbers out there to where if somebody got in Jailton's ear and told him, hey, whole bunch of people that you love can make a ton of money if you don't finish this guy. I wonder if that's the way Jailton went, because it looked like he wasn't trying to finish him. And whoever cashed those decision props, I'd like to know who they are. EQ in the room saying, oh, yes, let's go. And Bailey likes Lopez as well. We got EQ saying stack those tickets like flapjacks. Let's go. We got James S saying jump on Lopez early this week. Yeah, Lopez is a stud, man. That's going to be a really fun fight. I think that Sabatini can take him down and hold him down and stay safe from the submissions, but he's going to have to fight a perfect fight in order to win that decision. But I took the shot at plus 285. It's a wide number. We got Yippee Kaye saying, listen up, folks. Weezy's grinding hard to make us all money. Show some respect. Hit that like and subscribe. It's in your best interest. It's also in my best interest. It helps me out if you hit that like button. It helps me out if you hit that subscribe. And it really helps me out if you support the work by joining the Patreon. You get access to these fabulous stats that you see all week here on Ask Weezy, Just the Tip, the Greasy 4-Leg Parlay, and Stat Diggers on Pub Sports Radio. You're not just supporting me for free, you're getting something in return. So please consider joining the Patreon and supporting the work that I put out here for free every week on YouTube. Thank you so much for the shout out there, Yippee Kaye. We got Yes Freak in the room saying Scottsdale, Arizona is watching you. This weekend, we gonna eat. We are definitely gonna eat this weekend. I'm looking forward to it. Yeah, I know. Olajuwon Dream says, imagine both main and co-main go the distance. That would be it's gonna be a bad night for your Uncle Weezy if that happens. I'll tell you that, man. But I don't think it's gonna happen. Not after last week. But it's MMA. Anything can happen, you guys. Bailey saying, anyone on Costa or am I on an island? I think Costa at the price is very, very live. I don't think Urseg should be minus 200 over Alessandro Costa. Costa's more experienced. He's fought the better brand of competition. I think he's got a little bit more power in his hands. He's got a very dangerous Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu game as well. So I don't hate the price at all on Costa. Robert Saladino likes Lopez all day. Bailey says 23 people haven't liked. You're basically stealing if you haven't hit the like button. Stealing. Thieves. All of you. James S. in the room saying, yeah, thank you, man. I appreciate the time you're doing this because I can't catch you at night. Yeah, I know a lot of people can't catch me at night, and that is a shame. We got Bailey saying, LOL, what's up? We got Victor saying, oh, yes, what's up, Bunk? I just joined. I'm assuming you're almost done. I'll watch the replay once we're done. Yes, sir, Victor. We got leg 1, over 1.5 rounds for Van Borjas. Leg 2, Vyacheslav Borshev's money line. Leg 3, under 1.5 rounds in the co-main, Aspinall versus Pavlovich. Leg 4, under 2.5 rounds in the main event, Prochaska versus Pereira. Bailey says he's on that, James, for 1 unit. We got James saying, nice, thank you, Uncle Weezy. We got Jester saying, appreciate you, Unc. We got Robert saying, Weezy, can you explain in a hot minute pricing? When you say we are only paying 40% for a 70% chance of fights in this category. So, yeah. So what we're looking at here on the screen here is this line number 5 has our odds, and you can see minus 210, minus 177, 115, minus 135, 180. So we're looking at this plus 147 here for the over 2.5 rounds. When we convert that plus 147 into an implied probability, we get 40.49%. And that's what I refer to, Robert, as the price of the line. The price of the line is what we pay. It's plus 147. It's minus 500. It's plus 1,600, right? And each one of those betting lines has an implied probability attached to it. That's the probability that the line hits. And the probability that it hits is what determines the payout at the end of the day. So when I'm talking about the price of the line, I'm just talking about this conversion from plus 147 into the implied probability. So if we can find lines that have an implied probability that's lower than some of the benchmarks that we want to compare them against, that's what we refer to as an underpriced line. So what we do here, see, like this number, the 30.44%, that's this number, which is the divisional benchmark for over 2.5 rounds, minus this number, which is the price of the line. So if strawweight fights that are scheduled for 3 rounds, we've got a sample size of hundreds of them, right? So we know what the benchmark is. We know that 70%, almost 71% of women's strawweight fights that are scheduled for 3 rounds go over 2.5 rounds. And we also know the price of the line. So we can compare those to each other and determine whether we're overpaying or underpaying based on that metric. That's the first metric that we're looking at, the price of the line. The second metric that we're looking at is the combined performance of the two fighters. Andrade has had 19 UFC fights that were scheduled for 3 rounds. Mackenzie Dern has had 8 fights in the UFC that were scheduled for 3 rounds. 8 of 19 for Andrade went over. 4 of 8 for Dern went over. That means 12 of 27 went over. 12 of 27 is 44.44%. So that's the fighter performance. That's the combined UFC performance of Dern and Andrade going over 2.5 rounds. So we could take that number at 44%, which is the metric, subtract the price of the line, which is 40.49, and we get 3.96% there. Another underpricing, another discounted line compared to the metrics that we have available. So that's what we're looking at there, Robert. That's what we're determining when we're determining an overpriced or an underpriced line, or a plus EV bet or a minus EV bet. We got Shake AU saying, I thought the exact same thing, Weezy. If I had to guess, I'd say definitely let that go the distance. But okay, anyway, let's get Greasy. We hitting this week. Let's hit it this week. Yeah, dude, I agree, Shake. It just looked really, really suspicious. And the payoff to take it the full 25 was absolutely astronomical compared to him just going out there and shaving his ass in the first round. Last week was the outlier, right? Let's hope. And let's hope we get back to violence in these heavier weight classes now. We got Clay saying I actually hedged it because it's the stupidest thing that could happen. I agree. And that's why I said, like when you open a line at minus 10,000 and think that the fighters don't see that shit, you're kidding yourself. And when you get out of the way like that and don't want to provide any liquidity, don't want to provide the gamblers with an actual bettable line, you wind up creating something on the other side that the fighters are going to have a lot more incentive to make that less likely event happen because there's a massive payoff for that less likely event. In this case, the less likely event, the fight going the full 25 minutes. And we know that Gilton had the ability to make that one go 25 minutes, and he did. We got James S. saying Snotsdale. What is he saying about Scottsdale? Calling Snotsdale. That's people in Scottsdale are going to be mad at James S. And then he's got a beautiful dog there. Look at that beautiful pit bull. Excellent stuff. Jester saying not liking the stream is thievery, like Turn stole her Portuguese accent. I love it. we got Antonio Esparza saying, "Oi, Unc, stop by to drop a like. Thank you, Antonio. It's much appreciated." We've got Bailey saying implied probability. Yes, sir. We've got Swinger saying, "Can I get some grease with those flapjacks? Let's go. Let's grease them up with some syrup and butter, Swinger, so we can enjoy eating this Saturday while enjoying these fights." We got Bailey saying, "This man right here is a better numbers explainer than all my college professors." Well, Bailey, I do have a statistics degree from the Harvard of the Midwest, ladies and gentlemen, Northern Illinois University, where champions are made and where Nobel Peace Prize winners go. So that's why. If I had went to an ordinary school like Northwestern or University of Chicago or Penn State, where dumbasses go, well, then, maybe I might not be able to explain this so much or so well. But when you go to a quality learning institution like Northern Illinois University, you're going to be able to explain some of these more complicated topics, you guys. We got Immaculaton saying Urseg times Dern, easy money, y'all. That could be a parlay that hits. I don't love the price on Urseg, but he's a damn good fighter. Excuse me. My guy Mushroom, he's sneak watching at work. Let's go. Saying let's stack him higher than Willie Nelson. Let's go, baby. Michael Martinez saying yes. What's up? Yes, Freak. Watching from Tempe, Arizona. Oi! And we got Robert Saladino saying, "I got a master's and you explained the subject better than all of my professors." This is what I do, dude. This is what I do. I mean, you want to talk about some really complicated shit, and I'll explain it someday, but this is the complicated shit. And I'm going to be doing videos that for behind this significant strikes template that I've created, behind the takedown template that I'm creating right now, and then a fantasy score, which is going to probably be a better tool than the significant strikes template. I'm creating all of these analytical tools so that we can look at all the available data and make the best possible decisions. So I'm hoping that you guys stick with me and continue to support my work, because if you do, I'm going to keep innovating like this. I'm going to keep trying to change the game. I'm going to keep trying to find edges in less and less used markets so that we can stack cash tickets like flapjacks, and I can continue to innovate in ways that other people don't have the ability to innovate with because they don't have access to the data that I have. So I appreciate you guys for watching. I appreciate you guys for supporting the work, hitting that thumbs up, giving me a comment on the video, subscribing to the channel. It all means a lot, and it allows me to go forward and continue innovating in the way that I'm innovating. That was you calling, Brady? I called you and didn't know you were alive yet. Yeah, man, I always do these things last minute, dude. So, you never really know when I'm going live, but it's usually around 1 or 2 on Friday for a few minutes. But yeah, I'll give you a call back, bro. Olajuwon Dream saying bet Lewis by decision for the meme. Yeah, you did, dude. But didn't bet L made a decision like an idiot? I remember when you said you bet Lewis by decision. I was like, dude, if that hits, it's the most unlikely result of the year, and that would have been one of the best calls ever. Just the fact that it went to decision and you were that close, man, that's crazy. What is the overall percentage of women's fights going over the 2.5? Well, I don't know about women overall as a whole. I don't have that number in front of me. But over 2.5 rounds for 115 pounds is 71%. And then for flyweight fights, it's 63.78%. And for women's bantamweight fights, it is 70.93%. So it's actually the same at bantamweight, 70.93, as it is at strawweight. That's really wild. I'm actually kind of surprised about that. Let me make sure that I didn't screw up. Let me look at my analytics here. So women's 115 over 750. Yeah, 70.93 for women's 115 and 70.93. So it's 122 out of 172 for women's bantamweight fights. And it's 183 out of 258 for women's strawweight fights. Both of them have exactly a 71% over 2.5 rounds rate. And for the women's flyweight division, it's 63.78%. Bailey saying at Olajuwon Dream did the same. Oh my God. We got Justin J saying, oi, howdy, Uncle Weezy. We got Olajuwon Dream saying that Bailey for real. Damn, man, we missed out on a big hit. That's for sure, dude. That's unbelievable. We got Broke Degen. You mentioned on the Ask Weezy last night that you have a Chris Farley story time. You think most of the story times are in the Ask Weezy EPs or could be anywhere? So I believe the Chris Farley story is an Ask Weezy story time because it was something I told impromptu. You know, normally when I tell a planned story time with Uncle Weezy, it'll be on Just the Tip with Uncle Weezy, and I will mark it story time with Uncle Weezy. But when I do it on Ask Weezy, I don't mark it, so it'll be hard to find. Chris Farley used to work at the Board of Trade before I worked there, and he was a clerk, and he was a shitty clerk. He was the worst fucking employee ever, and there were a lot of stories about him when he worked at the Board of Trade. One day, he came into work, and like I said, he was always late or he didn't show up a lot. Very unreliable dude. And one of the clerks that I used to work with was there when Farley worked there. So when you worked at the Board of Trade, the open was busy, the close was busy, and then there wasn't much going on, you know, in the middle of the day. So everybody, you know, right before that bell rang for like the first half hour of the day, shit was hectic down there. So Chris was working for this one outfit and the bell's about to ring. And they're like, where's Chris? Where the fuck is Chris Farley? And the guy's like, I don't know. And they're like, go find him. We're busy this morning. I need his fat ass up here. I need him fucking working. Where is he? So they're like, where's Chris? Where's Chris? Where's Chris? So one of the clerks right before the bell was like, hey, you got to come down to the bathroom. You got to fucking see this shit. And he's like, we're just about to open. He goes, you got to see this shit. So he goes, and the bathrooms are not on the same floor as the Board of Trade. So you got to take an escalator down like 2 floors to get to the shitters in the Board of Trade building. They go down there. Farley, who had been up until 4 o'clock in the morning, drinking, doing blow, doing whatever drugs he was doing, was completely out of it. And he was sick and he was throwing up. And while he was throwing up, he started overheating. So what he did was he took off all of his clothes except for his underwear. And he was lying on the floor of the bathroom because it's that cold tile that helped cool him off. So like people were down there and there's Farley face down, you know, a fat dude in his underwear on the floor of the Board of Trade trying to get his body temperature down because he had partied so hard the night before. That's the Chris Farley story that I told on Ask Weezy. The guy always was a complete fucking mess. Bailey saying LOL, I swear. We got Olajuwon Dream saying shit, LOL. We got Bailey saying NIU, yes, sir, Northern Illinois University. We got Andrade's turn for the beastly divorce performance. Yeah, I mean, maybe it could be. I doubt it, though. I doubt it, but you know what? You never know, man. Bailey, oi! What is up, dude? James saying, appreciate all your help and info. Thank you so much and all of your hard work, brother. Yeah, you got it, dude. Anytime, man. Robert saying, professors only teach the subject. They don't live it. Back to School with Rodney Dangerfield. What's a widget? Yeah, I love that. I love that movie. That's a classic movie, man. Elijah Dream said, I put a whole $2 on it. Yeah, you would have made 40 back, man. That would have been awesome. My guy Bailey saying, I'm always on the cutting edge. I appreciate that, man. We got James S. saying, damn. We got Bailey saying, that's actually pretty intriguing. Very profitable. We got Teron Brown in the room saying, what up, Uncle? I got Jerry knocking out Alex. It could absolutely happen, dude. As long as somebody gets knocked out, Teron, in the first 2.5 rounds, your Uncle Weezy is going to be happy. I could see that fight going either way. Jerry's got bricks for fists, and he's very durable. And Alex Pereira is a very accurate and deadly kickboxer with a ton of power in all of his weapons, but that left hook is otherworldly. So, yeah. Yeah, Farley was one of my dad's favorites. LOL, rip. Yeah, man. He was a mess of a human being, but he was a very talented physical comedian for sure. We got Elijah Dream saying, laugh my out. Sounds about on par. Yes, that's so true. Do love Farley, though. Oh, rest in peace, man. Yeah, for sure. Rest in peace. Talented guy, but he had a lot of demons, man. He had a lot of demons. My aunt and uncle owned a restaurant called the Taverna, Greek restaurant. It used to be in the basement of the Time Life building in Chicago. And one of the regular customers there was John and Jim Belushi's mother. And she was really good friends with my aunt Maria and Uncle John. And, that was another one with John Belushi, was just this incredibly talented comedian who just kind of had these demons. And, a lot of really talented comedians are really messed up people behind the scenes, and it's a shame. But they go out and they need that that validation from the audience, that somebody to tell them that they're doing something well. And yeah, that it was a shame that we lost him too early. Yeah, for sure. Jay saying, "Oi, Weezy, best in town. Please, what's your 6 favorites for DFS?" I've got a lineup that I don't absolutely love, but it is, here's what I put out for the DFS show. It was Emmers, Van, Aspinall, Pereira, Borshev, and Frivola. That's my 6-man lineup for this week. Robert saying fighters definitely let fights go the distance for betting. Why wouldn't they? They don't make shit. If they can make more money by winning a decision rather than finishing a guy, I would try to take it to decision as well. Elijah Dream saying he got Alex at -105 back in September. Otherwise, I probably wouldn't have played either money line. Yeah, I hear you, man. Broke DGen saying, thanks for the Farley story. This is my whole bankroll. The broke DGen now is flat broke instead of just having $2, but he helps out his Uncle Weezy with a generous donation. I truly appreciate you, man. We got Prince of Mischief saying, damn, I'm late. What's good? Yeah, dude, we're all good here. Prince of Mischief, 43-minute video for the Greasy 4-legger, super long. But yeah, when we got good chat interaction going, we might as well just keep talking. We've got Teron Brown saying, you're from Chicago. Yes, I am, sir. North Sider. Grew up in Park Ridge, but right now I'm over in Avondale, over by California and Diversey. Chicago, stand up, baby. Prince of Mischief saying, like and subscribe. Everyone, appreciate you, my man. We got Teron saying, yep, so true. Look at Robin Williams. There's another one, man. It's a shame. But Olajuwon saying, Roosevelt Roberts look bad on the scale. Is he going to run into that dick saw? Yeah, dude, I think he is. And Rombeski's a tough fighter. It's a tough ask to take a Rombeski fight on less than 1 week. And then Roosevelt's a big lightweight too. So I was saying to him, wow, man, that's a huge ask to ask Roosevelt Roberts to try to make 156 on 4 days notice. And he was not able to. It's a shame, but it is what it is. I heard after Robin Williams would get done with one of his shows, he would go in the back and cry. Well, I could see that happening because the way that Robin performed, I mean, you could tell that when he was on stage, he was giving 100% of everything that he had. And sometimes people do that. They unload, and then they just unload the emotions that go along with giving that much of themselves in the performances that he used to give. And don't forget, Robin was on some hard drugs too, dude. That dude did piles of cocaine. He made Tony Montana look like a rookie. So yeah, I mean, like that's going to bring out emotions like that from you too. Not Alex or Jiri though; they are killers. Yes. Born in Chicago but raised in Mississippi. That's awesome, dude. Yeah, Chicago is a great city, man. And Robert saying Junior Velasquez, best DJ of New York from the 90s. Who you got, Weezy, from Chicago? Best 90s DJs, I would say in Chicago, man. I mean, so I remember the crew that used to work for Gramophone Records back in the day. That's where I used to do my record shopping. All the records that you see back here bought at Gramophone Records in Chicago, Illinois, over on Clark Street. And so I remember listening to John Curley over at Shelter Nightclub. I remember listening to Michael Serafini wherever Michael would play. And he's now the owner of Gramophone Records. Daryl Woodson, Miles Maida, Mark Farina, Hector Lopez. You got the Super Jane crew with Colette, Dehoda, and DJ Heather. You know, Chicago had such an amazing house scene. Mike Steele, I used to buy records from him over at Supreme Records back when they used to be open on Milwaukee Avenue. There's a long list of really talented house DJs from this city, but I believe the best times that I had listening to house music, I was at Shelter Nightclub with my friends in the Sigma Chi house, because one of our fraternity brothers, his dad was one of the 3 owners of Shelter Nightclub, and I used to go there and listen to John Curley spin on Saturday nights, and those were some great nights, man. We partied ass back in the day, man. I would have to say John Curley, Robert, was my favorite Chicago DJ. Yeah, he did love that Booger Sugar for sure, man. He partied on that, man. Robert saying Hector Lopez is good. I have his records. Yeah, dude, Hector did a set once at the I think it was like the Gramophone Records 20th anniversary party or something. And Hector's set at that it was at Metro Smart Bar in Chicago. His set was unbelievable. I remember. I don't really claim being from Chicago. Been in Mississippi. Yeah, if you've been there since you were 6, it's hard to remember anything about Chicago, man. But I love Harold's Chicken in Chicago. Yeah, dude. If you don't mind waiting 45 minutes for good chicken, Harold's Chicken is definitely where it's at. Moy is saying Armand Van Helden. Yeah, dude, the funk phenomenon. He had some great remixes. Not a Chicago guy, but a great remixer, producer, DJ for sure. And we got Robert Saladino saying Palladium, best time of my life. That's a New York club, isn't it? And Junior played 48 hours straight in 1999. How the fuck, dude, what kind of drugs would he have had to have been on, man? That's crazy. But listen, you guys, 48 minutes for the Greasy 4-leg parlay. Love the banter today. Appreciate all you guys for hanging out. Please hit, you guys have ombudsman system? What? Ombudsman? I don't have an ombudsman system. Deep Dish. Oh, Deep Dish. I remember Deep Dish. I've got a record by Deep Dish called Stay Gold from way back in the day. I remember Deep Dish. They were a DJ duo. Is it from Germans or Scandinavians? Is what from Germans or Scandinavians? Memphis, another great city. If you want good ribs, Memphis is the place for you. I've been to Memphis. I've got a great story time with Uncle Weezy one time from Memphis. Cracked out where we all are. That's for sure. Chicago, home of Al Capone. Yeah, and I used to live in Uptown, right by the Green Mill, which was his old hangout. Bailey saying love. Thank you guys for watching. Let's stack catch tickets like flapjacks for UFC 295. Let's cash this 4-leg parlay. Let's make a ton of money while watching these fights. Really enjoy it and get back for next week's card. 14 fights. Brendan Allen versus Paul Craig in the main event of the UFC Vegas card coming up here. I believe it's UFC Vegas 82 or something. But thank you guys all for watching. Hit that thumbs up and subscribe on your way out. Please consider joining the Patreon. And let's stack cashed tickets like flapjacks for UFC 295. Let's go.